Terrifying hood. Horror. The Crown Vic that hunted me. This happened when I was 23. My name's Dre. I was living on the west side of Chicago back then, working nights at a warehouse, just trying to make rent. I ain't the type to scare easy, but what I saw that night changed the way I move. Forever. It was one of those winter nights that hang in your bones. I got off work around 1:30 in the morning. Cold that bites through a hoodie makes your eyes water. My bus stop was 3 blocks down, a stretch that's dead quiet after midnight. Streetlights flickered every other pole. Trash skittered along the curb like something alive. And the city hummed the same distant soundtrack. Sirens far off, a dog barking in an alley, a radio left on in somebody's open window. I had my headphones on halfway through a Kendrick track. That bass thing where it sits in your chest, that was there. Then I felt it like a hand on the back of my neck. This old beat-up Crown Vic rolling slow behind me. No headlights on, just rolling. You ever get that skin feeling like somebody's watching you? That's what it was. My stomach tightened. At first I told myself it was nothing. Somebody looking for a spot, right? But the car matched every cross street. Same speed, same distance. I pulled my hood up and walked faster. The air got thick, heavy. My heartbeat took over the music. The bass dropped, and under it, a low engine growl that wouldn't quit. I took the earbuds out, tires on cracked asphalt, a distant crunch of gravel every rotation. I turned the corner on 14th, thinking the maze of back streets would swallow him up. Then, headlights, bright, blinding. The engine jumped loud like a dog that just noticed you. They sped up. I broke into a sprint, boots hitting pavement, loud in the empty street, cut through the alley behind Ms. Riley's beauty shop. There's this slick patch of ice near that back gate. I hit it and went down. Palm tore on concrete, hoodie snagged, pain lit up my shoulder, but I kept moving. I didn't stop. The Crown Vic's engine roared again, tires screeched, then a slam, sound of metal on metal. Maybe he hit a dumpster or a post. I don't know. It didn't matter. I dove behind a set of trash bins, chest heaving. The smell of garbage and motor oil slapped me in the face. The car idled nearby, slow, satisfied revs, like whoever was inside was playing some quiet game. A door creaked open. Boot steps, heavy, measured, not running, patient, a voice, soft, low, like a man who's done this before. Yo, I saw you running, Dre. You fast, bro. But you ain't that fast. My name, spoken like he'd known it for a while, like he'd been waiting for it. I remembered then the name tag clipped to my jacket from work. Stupid thing I forgot to pull off in my rush. Proof on my chest. I pressed my back to cold brick. Every muscle coiled. The flashlight beam moved across the alley, caught the dumpster, swept over the bins. He was close. Maybe 20 feet, breathing steady, patient. Come on out, man. I ain't trying to hurt you. That's always what they say, right before something bad happens. I kept silent. Then a car on the main street. Faint tires, like someone else was still out living late. The man looked toward the sound for a beat. The light on his face shifted. I used that second. I bolted. I ran hard across the alley, squeezed through a narrow gap between two garages. Shoulder bled through my hoodie. I didn't look back, not once, not until I hit the main drag and threw myself right in front of a city bus that was slowing at the corner. The driver slammed the brakes, horn screaming, doors flew open. He started cussing me out until he saw the way my hands shook, the way my face had drained all color. You good, son? The driver asked. His voice had that tired city kindness, the kind you only hear after midnight. I turned back once. The alley was dark again. No headlights, no car, no sound but the city breathing. But I could still feel it, eyes on me, a shape where a shape shouldn't be. I rode that bus all the way home without saying a word. My hands trembled the whole trip. People do what they do on buses, stare out the window, nod at nothing. But you can feel them notice you when you're raw like that, like wet meat in a room. When I finally got in my building, I locked every door twice. covered the windows with whatever I could find until dawn, sat in silence, letting the city's light steal back into the room. I listened to the pipes, to the radiator's clank, to every little thing outside. Every creak sounded like a step. In the morning I walked the route again, not because I wanted answers, but because I needed proof I wasn't losing my mind. That's when I saw the Crown Vic. Black, same model, parked on the curb, front bumper caved in, license plates gone, no one in the driver's seat, no keys in the ignition, no footprints in the snow around it. It looked like it had been waiting there, like a wolf that had taken its time. I never took that route again. But in the weeks after, I started seeing them. Old Crown Vics, rolled slow, windows low, not all of them, but enough that my eyes went there first when I walked at night. I learned to scan for dents, for missing plates, for that particular way a car moves when it's hunting and not just driving. You learn things quick when you gotta. See, the worst part, the part that sits in your chest when you're trying to sleep, isn't the car. It's the idea of intention, the way a city thing becomes personal. Someone in that car saw me, knew where I worked and how I walked. They had time to study me. That's a level of focus that chews at you. I thought about calling the police that night. I sat with that thought like a stone in my mouth. But which cop do you call? The one who tells you to keep moving? The one who looks through the camera and says there's nothing there? See, there's this truth in our hood. We don't always call out loud. We move quiet. We tell the kids, don't wear your name tags out the door. We teach them to trust the block more than the blue lights. My mama used to say, boy, mind how you walk. Ain't everybody outside to meet you. That's the kind of wisdom that keeps you breathing some nights. It's not glamorous, it's survival. A month later, somebody on my block, old Jerry from the corner store, said the same Crown Vic had been parked 2 blocks over just sitting for 3 nights. People in the neighborhood noticed, but nobody touched it. Nobody wanted to touch anything that looked like trouble. We watched instead. We shared glances at the barber shop, at the church steps. Neighbors whispered. Some called it a coincidence. Some said it was nothing. But when more people start to notice the same pattern, the same car at different corners, you stop chalking it up to chance. One night, a kid from down the block went missing for 24 hours, came back with his hoodie ripped and his story all broken. Said a man in a Crown Vic followed him home and asked questions about who he was working for. Said the man got out of the car, walked him to the corner, and spoke like he knew his family. The kid didn't go to the cops. He came to the barber shop, straight to the old men's circle. They told him to lay low. They told him to sleep with the radio on. That's when it stopped being a lone incident and started to feel like the edge of a net. I changed my routine. I started clocking which routes had more people around. I took longer ways home where there was light and life. I ditched the name tag habit. I kept a pocket knife in my boot. I learned to breathe with the city, how to move through sound, how to let cars pass and keep your shoulders loose. You don't get brave in these moments. You get smart. Weeks turned into months. The Crown Vic sightings would pop up like a bad dream. One man sees it at 3 in the morning near the laundromat. Another catches it cruising past the community center during a Sunday noon cookout. Nobody knew who it was. Nobody saw a face long enough to say anything for sure. And that was the point, I think. The uncertainty. The knowing that there was someone willing to practice patience until they get what they need. The last piece that kept it real for me, the one that closed the circle, was when I was at work late one night and a kid from my shift pulled up in the break room shaking. He said he'd been followed home by a Crown Vic. Said the passenger rolled down the window and called his name. The kid had thrown his backpack into the bushes and ran like hell. He looked at me like the ground had shifted, like the whole block had been betrayed. We didn't sleep much after that week. Men sat up and talked strategy like soldiers. We took turns walking people to the bus stop. We pooled for colored lights and cameras at the corner store. We learned to trade favors fast. A ride for a watch, food for a lookout. That's community, not the glossy kind you see on TV. The messy, rugged kind that shows up when shit gets real. You learn who your people are when there's a danger that can't be handled by a single phone call. So why tell you this now? Why tell you about a car and the way someone used it to put us on edge? Because that Crown Vic, that slow patient machine, wasn't carrying demons or ghosts. It was carrying intention. And intention in the wrong hands is uglier than any monster. Every time I see an old Crown Vic now, I feel that cold knot in my gut, a smell, a flash of chrome. My hands go to my pockets before I even realize it. I cross the street, I pick a different bus. I move like a man who knows the price of being seen. If there's anything I want you to take from this, it's this: danger ain't always loud. Sometimes it's slow, patient. It studies your steps and waits for mistakes. It learns the sound of your walk and the way your name sits on your chest. Keep your head, keep your people close, watch the cars that don't need to be there. And if an old Crown Vic creeps slow behind you one night, don't assume it's nothing. Because whoever was behind that wheel that night, they weren't just passing through, they were hunting. And some hunts don't end with a scream, they end with a slow, unbearable knowing that you were seen. So move like you've been warned. Real horror doesn't need monsters, just people. What did you find the creepiest in this story? Please let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more twisted true horror stories from the YouTube channel Sights of Horror.